We are almost in November and approaching to winter months, so it's time to support our health as much as possible. And I thought there is no better time than this to share some fermented food and beverage recipes that I love to prep and consume. In this video, I'll be sharing a fermented beverage recipe that is called shalgam, a Turkish drink. I would say very close to kvass, which is becoming a trend lately. I know and see all sorts of fermented beverages nowadays here in California, even in farmers markets, for cleansing, to heal your gut, strengthen your immune system and digestion. Basically, these fermented foods are full of probiotic bacteria, which is so good and crucial for a healthy gut especially. For today's recipe, I'm sharing my most favorite drink ever that I love to drink and enjoy every day. If you like earthy, salty and sour drinks, this shalgam is definitely the perfect cleansing beverage for you to enjoy with any meals. Let me tell you this is ridiculously easy to make and super cheap, especially considering the humongous health benefits it has. You should definitely give this a try. This recipe basically has a bunch of root vegetables. Let me show you what I have. I'm gonna make 2 glass jars of shalgam, gallon each, and I would strongly suggest you use organic materials, vegetables. These are super conveniently and economically available almost everywhere. I'm sure most of you can easily access organic carrots and beets. So if you are as lucky as I am, you can even get some organic radishes and turnips as well. But if you can't, then just increase the beet and carrots in the recipe. I have a mix of purple and orange carrots, 1 small pack of radish. These are from Trader Joe's, a couple of turnips, and the big fresh bunch of beets. These are humongous though. And you'll see how I'm gonna be using them. And these are from Whole Foods. But let me tell you this is $2, $2. This is from Whole Foods, and this whole fresh bunch is $2. I can't believe this. And radishes $3, and turnips, I believe it was $2.49 per pound. But I would say 2-gallon fermented drink, I'm sure you're gonna end up spending about $10, maybe even less. I'm not gonna use all of them. You'll see how much I use, but basically these are what I have right now. I'm gonna trim, wash and scrub all my root vegetables, but I will keep most of the skins on. I'm not gonna peel much. Then I roughly chop or cube them, and I'll place everything in my very clean jars. I'll show you how much I fill them up and also the next steps. In this side of my countertop, I have the remaining ingredients and materials I need. As just mentioned, I'll be using 2 jars, glass jars, gallon size each, filtered drinking water, kosher salt, a palm of bulgur, also named as cracked wheat, and a palm of chickpeas. If you cannot find bulgur, don't worry, just use chickpeas, it'll do the trick. And some cheesecloth to wrap the bulgur. And I'm actually repurposing some old organic baby cotton cloths that I have. I'll show you step by step what I do, and you'll see it's super duper easy. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start washing my vegetables. Even though I said I start with washing my vegetables, as you see, it was obviously a lie. I need to bag my bulgur first and place on the bottom of my jar. Now I'm washing them. Once I'm done with washing and light scrubbing, I'll just remove the tops and bottoms of the vegetables and any bruised parts, and then I will cut them very roughly and place them into the jars. Equal amounts of each vegetables that I'm gonna try. Let's keep chatting a little bit, right? I'm guessing almost everyone knows or heard of sauerkraut, but I mean old-fashioned, real way of doing it. Basically, this recipe has the same basic fermentation principles. If I have to use more fancy words, this is one of the Lacto fermented probiotic foods, in this case, beverage. The key and I believe one of the common mistakes that people do with fermenting food, which I also did, is not being patient enough. Like in sauerkraut, this has to ferment at least 3 weeks, but ideally 4 weeks to complete all 3 stages of fermentation. If you want to get all the health benefits and optimize beneficial bacteria growth, then just wait. You can go ahead and start tasting after 2 weeks, which I have done before just to check on things. I would say 2, even 3 weeks is not enough for me, as it is still a little sweet at that point. The sugar in the root vegetables will be fully eaten by the good bacteria in 4 weeks. I assure you, I tasted and I know. And it's perfect as I like my beverage not sweet. And again, just to get the full benefits and all the goodness of probiotics, just wait 4 weeks so that your fermented food and beverage can go through all 3 bacteria stages. I know, enough lecturing. Long story short, if you are curious, just do some research on stages of fermented food vegetables or Google it. I'm sure you'll get tons of info, way more than I know. I'm almost done, and I would say, as you see, I'm filling about 3/4 my jars with roughly cut root vegetables, and we'll be adding dried chickpeas, 1/3 of a cup each. In a separate pitcher, or you can use a container, I'm mixing salt with purified drinking water and dissolve the salt. The ratio for my brine is, for every 10 cups of water, I simply add 2.5 tablespoons of kosher salt. I like to taste my brine every time. This ratio gives me the perfect taste, not too salty, but enough, as salt is crucial for proper fermentation. Okay, I'm pouring my brine into my jars and fill them almost all the way up. You don't want any oxygen touching your vegetables. It's your enemy in this case. So cover the whole thing with the help of a small bowl. Just make sure you submerge your vegetables. I'm using one of my daughter's soup bowls. This is a white glass coral bowl, which perfectly fits to the top and serves the purpose. As you can see, all my vegetables are completely covered in liquid and fully submerged. This is the key part. You need to provide a safe environment for the vegetables to ferment. Oh, they look gorgeous. Now it's time for the hardest but easiest part. It's hard because I need to patiently wait for a month. Easiest because all I need to do is forget about it. Other than sporadic, curious checking on things, almost no babysitting involved. I'll be setting my jars aside in kind of a place not too cold or not too warm. They say perfect temperature is between 65 to 72 Fahrenheit to ferment. And you'll see shortly I'm hiding my jars behind the sofa in our guest bedroom / our living room, where the temperature I would say is cooler, more stable than the rest of the rooms with less traffic. And as you see, I already have some jars behind still fermenting. When I say I love this drink, I was not kidding. I make a batch in every 2 weeks to keep a constant supply. As you see, I'm storing my jars in an extra large aluminum foil containers, just in case of a brine overflow, especially in the first couple of days. And as you'll see, the fermentation is a live show. You'll see some bubbles forming, which sometimes can cause some overflow. As long as you keep everything submerged and under the brine, you simply wipe and clean the outside. After the first week, the environment settles down, so the overflow is super less likely. This is optional, but I'm covering my bowls with coffee filters to keep them dust-free. I'll be showing in this video how they look in the morning, and one of the jars behind is ready, so I'll also show the end product, how I strain and store. Night night, shalgams. Good morning. It's early in the morning. Just showing how my batch from yesterday looks like. It's been almost 12 hours. The beets and the radishes will turn my entire jars deep, gorgeous purple. As you can see from the mid-month batch behind this, let me zoom it so that you can see it. As you see, it's super deep purple. Oh, gorgeous. Okay, next, as promised, I'll show you the one that is ready to be strained and go to the fridge. It's on the very back. And of course, we'll immediately start enjoying for lunch and or dinners. It's very exciting. Here's my batch that I'll be straining today. It's very simple. I just need a fine mesh stainless steel strainer, a container, a funnel, and glass jars or pitcher of choice to store the juice in the fridge. Let me quickly show how it looks. You probably will have some sort of white film on the top of the liquid in the jar that I have it here, okay? And then let me show you how it really looks. Okay, I think it's better, right? You see how it looks? Okay, the white film on the top, this is just the natural yeast as a result of the fermentation process. Very normal and very common. If you see on the surface of the juice, just skim that off the top before you serve and you're good to go. Before straining, I always smell, oh, it smells so good, and taste to check things. If you see black, green colored mold on the top, then it's bad news. And discard, do not consume, just start over. And believe me, your nose knows if this happens. When I heard and read this at the beginning of my fermented food making journey, I'm like, really, I'm not sure if I know it goes bad. Let me tell you this, the fermented food or beverages have a strong smell just by nature. But if it goes bad, you smell or taste something that is really bad, and then it is probably spoiled. And again, if you are new to fermented food, let me tell you this up front. This is an acquired taste. You simply may feel it is kind of strange or weird, but if the taste or the smell is super unpleasant, then highly likely it is spoiled. And if you are still intimidated by the safety, then I would suggest educate your palate by maybe buying real old-fashioned way fermented sauerkraut. I know Costco sells it, and taste it, and even drink the brine, and then you'll have an idea what pleasantly to some people strange or weird taste is in fermented food. By doing so, you may have a better idea on what to expect. Hope this helps. Now it's time to strain. Okay, now I'll be pouring this probiotic goodness to my jars. I'm actually repurposing my milk jar and my wine bottle to store this drink. Of course, I already washed and sanitized them. Okay, that is a kind of miscalculation on my end. A gallon of fermented drink, I ended up having a half gallon jar. This is a half gallon, and a little bit more than a cup here, which is perfect for tonight's dinner for both my husband and I. And I ended up not using this wine bottle. Okay, I cannot wait to enjoy this for tonight's dinner. We like to drink this very cold, so I'm gonna put the caps on so I can keep them in the fridge. The refrigeration slows down, almost stops the bacteria growth. So the fridge part is for mostly, I would say, storage after you are fully done with the fermentation. As I said, and I'm repeating, I know, but this is definitely an acquired taste. But let me tell you this, once you acquire this taste, you'll get addicted. It tastes so good. I'm hoping you'll give this a try and enjoy this shalgam as much as I do. Time to transfer my jars to the fridge. I just wanted to show you how the color looks like. It is so deep, purple, pinkish kind of color. So good. Oh, delicious.
Bon appetit!